So guys, we have some questions of the day, mainly related to, it looks like advisory and assurance is what it looks like, right? So how this is gonna go, I'm just gonna ramble off these questions that I have here in the chat. We shoot these questions out to basically see what clients are wanting, see what clients have questions about. And I get a lot of questions each day. So this is a good opportunity for me to basically take all the questions, answer it. Some other people may have the same particular questions. These aren't prep. These are just looking at it from a raw light. If there's ones that we need to do longer videos of, just comment in the video, guys. We'll make sure that we address those. But the first one, how do you know when a company is strategically drifting, even if revenue is growing? Client complaints. If they're having a lot of clients complaints and their customers, they're not retaining their clients, especially if they have some type of subscription-based model. So that's where I know where, okay, they're growing. They know how to bring in sales, but how they're keeping it, right? So that's one of the signs that you know when a company revenue is growing, but strategically they're drifting, right? That means like, hey, there's some chaos still going on with the firm. That means you gotta just clean up operations. What is the next question? What is the difference between financial performance and financial health? Oh, good question. It means the same thing to me. Financial performance and financial health. What's the difference between financial performance and financial health? Right, so so when I look at financial health, financial performance drive what your financial health is, right? How you're performing day in, day out, month in, month out. Those performance basically grows into a financial health of what your financial health is. That sits at the end of the year or end of the quarter, right? It's the overall performance of how your company's been doing. Usually you can help gauge your financial health by looking at profit and loss, balance sheet, and also that cash flow statement. Each one of those statements shows about different types of health that you want to basically discuss. For example, that profit and loss shows that financial performance for that month, right? Or that quarter, whatever the cover period is. That balance sheet shows that financial health side of, as far as like what's your assets, liabilities, and equities, and how healthy you are. And so let me rewind that, guys. Let me restart that over. What's the difference between financial performance and financial health? So when I'm looking at financial performance, I'm looking at a period of time, could be quarterly, monthly, yearly, or 5-year, right? I'm taking your profit and loss and I'm looking at, okay, how's the performance of this business? No different than looking at LeBron James stat sheet. Okay, what's the rebounds, assists, points? That's what I'm looking at, right? That financial performance of how you've been performing month in, month out, quarter in, quarter out, or so on. So I'm looking at basically your stats if we're relating this to sports. That lets me know, like, hey, are they having a good game or a bad game? Are they having a good season, bad season? That lets me know. But for the financial health, and usually beggars look at the financial health and the financial performance, but the financial health, that's like that balance sheet towards me. Shows me how healthy a company is. How much cash reserves does this company have on hand? Do they have enough for any emergencies? How's their liability side? Is the liabilities more than the assets that you have? Banks look at this. That's that financial health that I'm looking at. So when I hear about financial performance, I'm mainly relating that to the profit and loss for a company. And then at financial health, I'm relating that to that balance sheet to show us what's the health of this company, where they're bleeding at. If they have too much liability and they have little cash, I'm like, ooh, this company's bleeding. How are they gonna pay their debt? If they have too much equity and not enough cash, it's like, man, why do they keep pumping in equity into this company? Can they not perform? Can they not produce revenue in order to generate cash? Why do the owners keep having to pump cash into the business just to stay alive? The financial health, right? So that's what that means for, for me. It's basically a profit and loss versus that balance sheet. Shows your performance versus your health. Hope that helps. Next question. How should owners think about the decision making under uncertainty? You should have your eyes and ears towards the market. What are the big boys doing in your industry? Because remember, they have more data than you. They can pro forma things and kind of forecast things longer than you because they have more data. They have departments doing this research to see what decisions do they need to make. So I like to have my eyes and ears towards the market. When these big companies are doing layoffs, I want to know, shoot, why are they doing layoffs? Is it because they bring in AI? Is it because they figure out we don't need too many people to be more efficient? What is it? I'm always asking the why question because if it relates back to my company or my industry, I want to do the same thing. Hey guys, we're going to double down on AI because I believe this is the future. Or hey guys, let's kind of operate in different departments because I don't want too many people bounce between different departments for strategic growth, whoever it may be, right? I'm just making that stuff there. But in order to do decision making under uncertainty, you look at the economy, you look at the market. You got to understand your clients and your customers, where they're at, what they need, right? Pivoting your company. Like in COVID, I always say this with my mental health people. They were booming during COVID. Some of the companies that are making 200K, they're making 800K, 900K, a million for the first time during COVID. But they never took that money and pivoted. Now you can see that they're kind of weeding down or maybe just getting out of the business. That's because they don't pivot when seasons or economies change. So you need to figure out, okay, what is my new client? What does my new customer look like? What do they need? How can I pivot to make sure that I'm taking care of them, right? That we're putting ourselves as a business in the best possible way to stay alive. Next question, what are signs that leadership is operating reactively instead of strategically? Oh, well, you can tell the operation is just in chaos. You can even see the culture of the business are kind of like, everyone's like tense. Like, oh, what's going on? That means they're not prepped for each season that the business have. Like, for example, tax season. Tax season is always the same each year. So it's no different. So different. We know people come in, we got a service, this is our operation. No one's stressed here. Now, if you get new work or maybe you got to light out some fires, and everyone's kind of like chaotic and you feel the culture of that company change, that's signs that you're kind of you kind of are too reactive, and you need to develop systems in your business to control that. Notice how I'm always using systems. Most companies just need to find systems on what to do when XYZ happens. What to do when XYZ happens, right? You need a system. Usually it should be in video form of you speaking, should be in written content or some flow chart. That's the way I like it, because people like pictures, people like videos, people least likely like reading words, just how it is. And strategically, you just need to be more proactive. Have your monthly meetings. Every business should be at least be meeting weekly on a Monday. You have to be meeting weekly. How else are you setting the tone for the week? How else do people know what they're working on? You need to be meeting weekly, preferably at the start of each work week. Next question. Next question. How do compensation structures impact long-term business stability? Well, sometimes owners just pay themselves too darn much. They need to at least do the 40% rule of the net profit. I always look at owner salary from like a CFO standpoint to say, okay, you want the company to grow, but you're overpaying yourself way too much. You need to be taking that money that's coming into the business and basically pumping it back into the company, not your W-2 salary. How else are you gonna make this stuff grow? The object of the game is to take this cash to help generate more cash for you to produce. If you're basically taking because your lifestyle as a business owner is too heavy, you need to look at that and adjust it. Sometimes I say you don't need to act as the revenue of your business if you're making millions. You need to act as your salary. Maybe it's a $40,000 salary because you're aggressive with growing right now. Maybe it's $80,000 salary. You need to live as a woman or man making that W-2, not your business revenue. Most people live as if they're making, their business revenue. No, that's the business revenue. Yours is different. Pay yourself market rate or a little bit low depending on where you're at, and then that's how you live until a certain period of time where you know where you can take compensations or your bonuses. But if you're in full growth mode, you need to basically live a little bit below your means. How else are you going to grow at a rapid rate that you want to? Next question, what does operational clarity looks like from a CFO perspective? Consistency. We're consistently meeting. They consistently know their numbers. They consistently are meeting their KPIs or know about their KPIs. A CEO should have a one-page sheet of what everything their company is doing, whether they're meeting operational needs, whether they're not, whether they're a little bit below the mark. That should be a one-pager that the CEO has. Next question, how do you evaluate whether a company's growth is actually profitable growth? I'm looking at the cash flow statement. I care about cash. How is cash moving in and out of your company? To be honest, I may not, this is just my take. I'm a revenue thinking CFO. I only truly care about cash because I know cash can basically solve all the things you want to do. You want to be a CEO that takes great vacations and long vacations and your systems are still built out where you don't have to be there. Guess what? It's going to take cash. You want to grow into a franchisable model and you're a restaurant? Guess what? It's going to take cash. Anything that you think of, it usually going to take cash to get there. That's why I like focusing on the cash part. How are we keeping cash? How much cash do we have? How are we going to grow cash? Okay, looks like we have some bonus question too. How's AI changing the way advisors analyze risks? How is AI changing the way advisors analyze risks and financial performance? I don't think it's changing. It's just helping you speed up my performance of delivering to the client. That's all it's doing. I'm doing the thinking. I don't want AI doing the thinking for me. I'm auditing AI to make sure it's just the right thing to send out or it's right structure. but AI is just increasing my performance. For example, Cloud and Excel. It's a great tool to develop charts and, forecasts for certain clients, where I'm taking the data, putting it in there, and now organizes it for me on a way that I can present to the client. So it's just helping with my presentation. I know it can do a lot more studying, find trends. I get that part, but I'm in a phase now where I'm just auditing AI, and then I'm using it to help speed up my deliverables. That's it, which is a good way to use it. I recommend every business owner to, look into AI. I do believe it is the future. I'm a fan of it. Last question: where should technology support decisions? Where should technology support decision making, and where should it not? Kind of like what I said in the last question. You shouldn't be really thinking for you too much. You're still the expert. If you're not the subject matter expert, you still need to do the old school way of studying, hustling, busting, and being that subject matter expert. There's no shortcut to that. You still need to get your battle scars, and you still need to do your education on your particular subject. There's no way around that. There's no way around that. Because here's the thing, you can put one thing into AI and it may be completely wrong. If you're not the subject matter expert to audit that and catch that, you're gonna look like a buffoon. You need to be able to catch that, right? So there's no way to really, well, there is ways, right? It can help in decision making. I will show you the pros and cons and do analysis. But at the bottom line, you're the one making the decision. But guys, that's all the questions I have here. Once again, keep emailing these questions. I take these at the end of the week, and I do these, what do you call it, Russian roulette style of just firing off these questions. And let me know if you have any questions. And happy tax season, guys.